out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WALK5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code WALK5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank.
And we're back now. Again, as stated, the board chair to the Board of Commissioners, we have, he's back with us. We're in sync again now. He was...
we moved the meetings around.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. You know, you need a break. Look, I need one too.
So we moved the meetings around. Just spring break. I think we just kind of we adjusted the meetings for this month and allow folks to have that time.
Sure.
Spring break with grandkids or whatever they may be doing.
Yeah, because you have a little one in your house.
Well,
and
so does Commissioner Tyson. So.
Right. So
and people have grandkids.
Who has grandkids?
Well, I mean, Commissioner Adams has grandkids.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right.
Staff and everybody.
No, I was talking about...
on the commission.
I was thinking that Commissioner Tyson, he just had a little baby.
Yeah,
right.
He's got a son too. He's got 2 kids.
Okay, right. So, yeah, I remember those days, man. You know, so I used to have her in tow, and she's 37 now.
That's it.
Look,
and doing well.
Yeah. Well, look, the thing is though about parenting, man, it's just that you gotta learn how to parent twice.
That's right.
When they're little, and then when they become adults. And they get their own personalities. And they go through this thing of knowing more than you know.
Well, it feels like they have their own personalities now. So.
Oh, they do. But it's real different, you know, when they get to be older. But it was still a lot of fun. She should be calling me in about, 35 minutes. You be here. This phone rings.
Right. That's good.
Classic every day.
At least she's still calling you.
Yeah.
I hope Ray's still calling me when he's 37 every day.
That's, look, I look, no complaints. I am thankful the fact that she still calls me about every day, and we have prayer.
Yeah. Had
a good long conversation yesterday, about 45 minutes.
Gray will be talking to me about sports probably at that time.
Yeah, and she's a daughter now, but we talk about everything now. She be into the sports stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, she be citing stuff, and I need to have her on the morning show on Mondays because she knows the statistics and all that stuff. It. But parenting is just, I tell people, it's so much fun, and particularly on the front end, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's a blessing. Try to be very deliberate. My time is pulled in a lot of directions with business and elected work and others, but got to be very deliberate about making time for him and with him. These are moments you never get back. So
that's true. Yeah, look, I tell people that you can't
get them back.
You can't make them up.
That's right.
And the sad part, I see some people they don't do it with the kids. And now they're trying to make it up with the grandkids.
It's not the same.
That's not.
It's not the same.
That's not. Don't do that.
Very deliberate. From Friday Night Lights out there playing football.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right.
Going, this Sunday we went to the Liberty game again out at the Crown, Crown Arena, and watched them whoop up on the Florida team, and so it was good, and you got to see some of his favorite players. So he's enjoying that. Just good time, just watching him, just enjoy himself with his buddies. So it's good.
Yeah, but anyway, well, look, we'll get more into business here. Let's, what time? Let me see. We got about 4 minutes. Let's talk about 4 minutes before we take a break and then come back. So this whole data center thing is just, it's exploding around here too. I don't know if you saw the piece where somebody shot at a mayor's house because of data centers. I mean, it just really.
I think that speaks to a bigger issue, and that's about just this, political violence that we continue to see across the nation. So, I mean, that, we can talk about data centers, but that's all, to me, that's a whole nother topic of, irrational people. But I think there's a lot going on the data center front. We kind of probably, we had a meeting last week, our agenda session, which is where we kind of work. It's like a working session, like what the Fayetteville City Council does, where we determine what goes on our agenda. Probably a couple things from that we talked about. We received an update on DSS and the health department. We also had on the calendar to discuss about a moratorium around data centers and what the framework of that would look like. We're probably the two larger issues on our agenda, and then of course some just ongoing project updates. But we started that last Thursday based on the length of that meeting and people needing to leave for other events. We adjourned it due to lack of quorum and reconvened it to finish it yesterday. And so we went through that process yesterday, starting at 2, finished up probably around 6 o'clock, a little after 6 o'clock. And a couple good things, there were a lot of good points that came out of that. Again, one of those, we talked about a moratorium around data centers and what that would look like. And then again, last Thursday, not this week, but a discussion around the DSS and health department and, the organizations and the delivery of service from those organizations. So I think we talked a little bit about that last week as well. But unfortunately, we were supposed to have a School of Government presentation, but you gotta love technology, and technology was failing. We couldn't hear her, and so we are going to bring her back next month at our agenda session so she can give us an update on that. And hopefully bring her in person. She was just giving us a School of Government perspective, kind of what's been done, what your options are.
For data centers?
No. I'm sorry. For DSS and
okay,
Health Department.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
right.
So DSS and Health Department. So she was coming in to say, these are your options under the statute. This is kind of what's been done. I mean, I saw the briefing, but you can read a presentation, but it's better to hear the words from an expert. And so, we look forward to having her come back. And again, like I talked about last week, for me, and there's an article in the Fayetteville Observer talking about it today, but for me, it's really around how do we provide the best level delivery of service to our constituents. We haven't looked at things in many, many years. We haven't looked at compensation. We haven't looked at capacity. We haven't looked at how we're structured, how we're organized, what programs are impactful, which ones aren't, which ones are producing results, what do we need to shift to. And so I think, this is an opportunity for us to make sure that we're providing the highest level of service we can to our citizens, but also because we've really heard from the staff and the department and the employees. We had a session last week with our employees, and then we've received quite a lot of email about it as well, or outreach on it. And so I think the other piece of this is also ensuring, because what we heard is we got a lot of work on our plate and we're under, and so ensuring that they have the capacity and that they're compensating accordingly to provide that level of service. And I think those are the conversations that will hopefully we'll focus on, and not focus on the points that cause having hard discussions is fine, but we don't need to become so passionate about it that gets the conversation gets lost in the argument.
Sure. Okay. Well, look, we're going to go to a break, then come back and chat more about those things. Chairman of the Board of Commissioners, Kirk deViere, is our guest on this morning. And matter of fact, he'll be taking calls as well. He's always said he's open to calls. So if you choose and desire to call in 910-483-6111, we'll be accepting your calls this morning as well. We'll be back for more following this break.
MerleFest 2026, presented by Window World, delivers music, moments, and memories each year. Hear Allison Krauss in Union Station featuring Jerry Douglas, Old Crow Medicine Show, Charles Wesley Godwin, Blackberry Smoke, Molly Tuttle, Railroad Earth, the infamous String Dusters, Joyalata Coon, Maggie Rose, Sam Bush, Peter Rowan, Steep Canyon Rangers, the Costellos, the Creekers, and more. Join us April 23rd through 26th in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. For the full lineup and tickets, visit merlefest.org.
A planned fight between two groups of youngsters turned into a fatal shooting at a Winston-Salem park on Monday morning that left 2 people dead. Winston-Salem police say the shooting happened at the Lineback Park near a middle school. State lawmakers headed back to Raleigh today as the General Assembly's short session gets underway. North Carolina is still operating without a budget. It's a continuing resolution still in effect from the 2023 budget. A grandson of former Duke basketball coach Mike Krzyzewski now faces charges in a fatal crash in Durham last Saturday. Joseph Savarino charged with driving while impaired. President Trump's nominee to be the Fed chair about to meet the Capitol Hill Grill today. Kevin Warsh set to testify before the Senate Banking Committee. Ahead of possible peace talks in Pakistan, both sides are rattling sabers. It's unclear when or if that session will get underway. Tony Bixby, NCN News.
I'm Jamie Monticelli, WIDU Radio News. Fayetteville Police Department detectives with the homicide unit have obtained arrest warrants for a suspect in connection with the homicide of Tony Chance that occurred along the 700 block of Blue Street on Monday, March 9th. The warrant is for the arrest of 33-year-old Jordan Chancellor Whipple of Fayetteville. Whipple has been charged with first-degree murder. Detectives are encouraging family and friends of Jordan Whipple to have him turn himself in to law enforcement. Detectives also ask anyone with information concerning the whereabouts of Whipple to be cautious and contact law enforcement immediately, as he is considered to be armed and dangerous. The Cumberland County Cooperative Extension Master Gardener Volunteer Association invites you to their annual plant sale at the Crown Expo Center. It is happening this Saturday at 9 a.m. Browse a wide selection of locally grown plants, vegetables, herbs, houseplants, and seed packs to help your garden thrive. From WIDU Radio, I'm Jamie Monticelli.
Tuesday morning, it's a cold start out there. It's another one of those days where we'll have to peel away at the layers, and you'll see that again heading into Wednesday. For today, we're mostly sunny, and high temperatures reach about 65 to 70 degrees. Overnight, mainly clear, temperatures 45 to 50, so not quite as cold. And we're partly cloudy, breezy, and warmer heading into Wednesday. Highs in the low to mid-80s, partly cloudy Wednesday night, lows in the 50s. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the NCN Weather Center.
It's celebration time again for all freshmen in high school through freshmen in college. Come join us at Faith Tabernacle Christian Center for Prom Night 26. Our guest for the evening will be Christian rap artist Mike Teasy. This event will take place Friday, May 1st at 7 p.m. and is designed exclusively for high school freshmen through college freshmen. Commemorative photos will be taken and can be purchased the day of the event, so dress your best and come ready to have some fun. Admission is free, but you must register to attend. Register on our website at ftccenter.org, or you can call the church 910-865-5252. Church groups and schools are welcome, but you must register as well. Doors open at 6 p.m., so come early and participate in our red carpet photo op. Let's celebrate your accomplishments for this year by joining us for Prom Night 26. For more detail, call 910-865-5252 or online at ftccenter.org. Space is limited.
Angelic Florist Creations, 442 Hillsborough Street, Fayetteville, is family-owned and operated, proudly serving the Fayetteville area. Whatever the occasion, Angelic Florist Creations can create a floral arrangement or gift for any occasion or holiday. Angelic Florist Creations has prompt, friendly, and caring service. If you want to say you care, you can always say it with flowers from Angelic Florist Creations, 442 Hillsborough Street, Fayetteville. Call 910-485-2205.
This morning starting out quite cold once again. As we head into the afternoon, however, it'll feel nice and comfortable under a mostly sunny sky. High temperatures this afternoon about 65 to 70 degrees. Then overnight mainly clear, not quite as cold. Temperatures 45 to 50, but definitely peeling away at layers as we go throughout the day Wednesday. Wednesday's warmer, breezy, partly cloudy, highs low to mid 80s, then overnight lows in the 50s. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the NCN Weather Center.
Hey, you looking for your next car? Start at Bryan Honda, 4104 Rayford Road in Fayetteville. At Bryan Honda, we make buying a car simple, stress-free, and affordable. Whether you're searching for a brand new Honda or a quality pre-owned vehicle, we've got a huge selection to fit every lifestyle and every budget. From fuel-efficient Civics and Accords to family-friendly CRVs and Pilots, Bryan Honda has the perfect vehicle waiting for you, and with our friendly, knowledgeable sales team, you'll never feel pressured. Need financing? No problem. Bryan Honda works with multiple lenders to get you approved fast with competitive rates that make sense for you. Plus, our certified service department is here long after the sale, keeping your Honda running strong for years to come. Drive smarter, drive happier, and drive home today from Bryan Honda, 4104 Rayford Road in Fayetteville, or you can visit online, bryanhonda.com. Your road starts here. Nobody beats a Bryan Honda deal. Not now, not ever.
Carolina Complete Health. From neighborhoods in Charlotte to families in Greensboro, Raleigh, and Durham, all the way to Asheville and Wilmington, and everything in between. We are here for communities across North Carolina, connecting you to the care and support you need. We are here to make healthcare easier to access and understand. We are here to bridge the gap, because your health matters. Your community matters. You matter. We are here for your health. Visit hereforyourhealthnc.com.
And we're back. Let me see.
It's so great watching the WIDU intern at work over here producing the show this morning. That's what I'm talking about.
I know.
Internship at its finest.
Caleb Brown.
I love it.
He's doing a great job, man. I was saying, Reverend Paul, see, he knows that stuff. I'm lost.
But it's great. It's great to see. I mean, that's what internships are about.
Correct.
Getting that hands-on experience and doing the things so you eventually can be,
Yeah,
doing the
we
real
can move
world.
on. But look, talking about data centers, so there's all these AI. Do you call them apps, man? What are you going to call them? Apps. Okay, AI apps. Now, I know there's a lot of them that deal with photography because I take pictures, but they just, in general,
Oh yeah, there's a ton
all
of
these apps
Yeah.
that are out there. And all this stuff is supported by data centers.
That's right.
I mean, that's the way it works.
Yeah. So we took one of the actions we took last night or yesterday afternoon, I should say, is so. We've been very deliberate about a process. We've gone through. We brought our planner in to explain what an ordinance could look like. Best practices, what they've seen. Then we had a public hearing or a public comment period where we brought the public in to listen to them. From that, we directed our manager to our attorney to give us a framework for what data centers, what a moratorium could look like. He presented that to us yesterday. A lot of questions around it. Questions like, hey, we want to see what some other, there's 12 other communities that have done it in North Carolina. What do they look like? Are they legally defensible? Because there's some concerns around moratorium being defensible, defendable. And then there's questions around just the definitions on some of the terms and a couple of things that my colleagues wanted to see on the board. But one thing that came out is we set a public hearing date to have a public hearing around having a moratorium. Doesn't mean we have to take a vote to put it in place, but we're going to have a public hearing. That's what was established last night. We can take a vote that night, but the thing is getting that placeholder out there on the public hearing to have those conversations. But we still got some work to do on what it looks like. And so, staff owes us some information that they're going to provide to us as we begin to, and based on that information, that moratorium will be framed up and brought back to us. We're having that public hearing on the 18th of May, and then we'll look at next steps from there. We also directed staff to work with the Joint Planning Commission, which the Joint Planning Commission, for those people that don't understand that piece or unfamiliar with it, is the Joint Planning Commission is made up of every municipality except for, they're all part of it except for Hope Mills and Fayetteville. And so what that allows us to do is we directed the manager to have our planning department work with a joint planning commission because they have mechanisms to do ordinance reviews and ordinance updates that include community input, that include reviews, that include the subject matter experts, those things. So we directed our staff to work with the joint planning commission to look at what an ordinance potentially would look like for the county. And the hopes of that is because you have the smaller municipalities there, and remember, our ordinance is only going to cover the unincorporated areas. So this would give an opportunity for the other municipalities that are part of that joint planning board, joint planning commission, to be able to look at what ordinance we put in place and maybe bring those back to their local municipality as well. So again, trying to be very deliberate and thoughtful through this process, but we understand, we want to be timely about it. We want to be respectful of community input, and we also want to ensure that we, don't hinder the work that Robert Van Giens does at economic development. And when somebody pushes back on me and says that, oh, well, a moratorium is going to be, is not business friendly, my response has been, well, it is in a way, because we're laying out the expectations for those businesses, and so they know what they've got to do before they come do business here. And in a lot of ways, we're establishing what should happen, so they understand the expectations of the community. We've already had the community conversation, so that when industry, whether it's data center or anything else, comes in, they're coming into an open community and not one that's closed. That's going to be potentially fighting them along the way. So that's part of this, getting this right from the start and having that community conversation, but making sure that we shape our ordinances and shape our regulatory tools to be able to have the type of industry we want in our community.
Right. Wow. Well, look, that sounds great. DL is on the line. Good morning, DL.
Hey, good morning, Kirk, and good morning, Troy.
Morning, sir. What says you?
All right. So, Commissioner deViere.
Yes, sir.
So last week in Raleigh, the House Committee on Property Tax Reform cleared a major hurdle, and I think it's going to clear the House and head it to the Senate. And basically, for the listening audience, they want to put on the ballot in November the ability for Raleigh, the legislator, to limit property tax increase. Now, this is going to affect business owners, homeowners, and renters. So some of the municipalities are already pushing back. To me, it won't affect this year's budget for local government, but if it passes in November, you guys got some decisions to make. And here's my thing. Everybody has to be good stewards of the public's money. And not any government agencies in Cumberland County that I see are negligent, but there have been some ones that have been concerned, especially Winston-Salem Forsyth, where they both found out they wasn't even doing the auditing. And I always tell folks, even though county commissioners don't run the school board, they provide them money. The school board doesn't give the county commissioners money, it works the other way. So in a way, you guys have to ensure that the dollars you give them, they're being good stewards for the public. So I just wanted to know what you think about that, if you had time to think about that possibility of that happening.
Yeah, of course, and we're watching that. DL, thanks. It's always good to talk to you. I appreciate the type of questions that you ask and the information that you bring. Yeah, I mean, we're watching that very closely. Anytime that the state legislature begins to talk about property tax, that's one of our biggest sources of revenue. What's interesting is, as a former senator and being up there, I kind of know how it operates. It made it through the House, but will it actually get a hearing in the Senate? That's yet to be seen. So you kind of have to watch. While the House can make a lot of noise, is it political noise or is it actually legislative legislation. You know it's legislation if the Senate begins to move it. I haven't seen them place it on any committee. I haven't heard anybody on the Senate side really talking about it. So we'll see. I know there's a lot of issues around Wake County and some issues that a certain representative was alluding to about the dramatic increase in property taxes that they were seeing in Wake County. And they just happen to have a pretty competitive election. So I don't know if it's a political point or if it's really legislative. But I will point out that a conservative organization, John Locke Foundation, did a report around it. And they talked about where it would impact and kind of who's been, because what they're talking about levying is really, there's a formula that's balanced around inflation and population growth and spending. And what it said about Cumberland County is that even if they put this in place, it wouldn't impact us, because in this last round, while we had a significant increase in property values, what our board did is we lowered the tax rate even below revenue neutral. But what you saw, and I think what caused this legislation to be discussed, is other communities across our state went above revenue neutral, so they were pulling in additional dollars that didn't meet this ratio of increase that this piece of legislation is trying to allude to, basically saying you shouldn't collect more taxes. Your spending growth should be under a certain percentage, and that's why they're trying to put a constitutional amendment. I personally feel like if it goes to an election, if it goes to a ballot, nobody is going to vote for a property tax increase, and that's how this will be pitched, so I'm sure it'll pass. The biggest question I have, and that we're watching and our teams are watching, is does it begin to get a conversation in the Senate? And what we have to watch for, quite frankly, in the short session, because it will move very quickly, having been up there in a short session, without a budget being signed right now, what you could have is a lot of things get lumped into a compromise bill that includes the budget, that includes this constitutional amendment, that includes the hospital, that includes all these different things that they're negotiating around or stalled around, and they kind of begin to lump all these things into the budget bill and then pass that. So we've got to watch two things up there, and we're definitely watching it. But great question, and it directly impacts us here locally. But what I will say is, even if this passes, we still we won't be impacted based on the latest way we set the tax rate here in Cumberland County.
Okay, Dio, any follow-up? Oh, he's gone. Okay. Well, look, let me switch gears now, because I know you discussed this, but I just want to kind of massage this out a little bit.
Yep.
The thing about I guess, in a simple way of putting it, changing the structure of having one board that will be over both major human service organizations, the health department and DSS, correct?
Well, and this is what the school government was going to get to. There's a lot of options. One, you can leave it exactly how it is, and we look at the delivery of services.
Right. Okay.
You can do away with both boards and have the health department and DSS. Our board of commissioners would be the board for both of those.
Right.
Now, under that scenario, by statute, you have to have an advisory board, because there's certain requirements. You have to have certain medical professions, certain kind of criteria for.
Because you got to have a vet.
That's
over
right.
there.
You got to have certain.
Right.
You got to have certain
Health
types of professionals on there. So you have to set an advisory board. And then there's another option where you have a consolidation that we've seen a lot across the state, and fairly enough, some people have reversed that, like Wake County, like you've heard about. But that would be a consolidated board, which then you would have those types of professionals. That board, we would appoint to that board, but that board would then govern both the health department and DSS as well. So there's a couple different scenarios, and that's my point. No decisions have been made on this.
Correct.
We ask for the information. It's kind of like during budget season when we ask for information about different things. And this isn't just about trying to, make up funding for these unfunded mandates that are coming down from the state and federal government. This is about, for me, and I think for a majority of the board members, this is about how do we deliver higher level quality of service for our constituents. This is over 40% of our budget.
Right.
Just what we put in, this is over $1 billion budget when you look at these. That's from state, federal, and county. So I think it's important that we look at the impact that those dollars are going towards and how we can provide the best possible service for our constituents, the people that need it the most, but also more importantly for our employees to make sure they have the capacity. They're not overworked. They're not, they've got the capacity to provide that level of quality service that we need. And so my hope is through these conversations that we will get to that and be focused on that point. Whatever it looks like, but the major thing I hope that the community sees is we've got to provide the best level of service.
Sure.
Because these are the people that need it. And quite frankly, this hasn't been looked at in many years. And there's no issue with having a conversation around something. Conversations are healthy and good.
Sure. So now one online question was just given to me by the producer. What is the reason for even considering a change? Which I think you just answered that. I mean, but look, let me throw my 2 cents in. I mean, because now I don't have experience with Department of.
Let me just say, there is no boogeyman. Everybody's trying to paint that there's some boogeyman in the room and
right.
that somebody's trying to cut. This is a conversation. This is about being responsible elected officials to look at all aspects. I'll give you another example. The last time we looked at, we own a ton of buildings across this community, a ton, from DSS to Health Department to the Crown to the courthouse to the jail. You know, the last time we've looked at the deferred maintenance in that building, those buildings, 20 years ago.
Well,
so, and now we're asking those questions to say, how are we going to fund that deferred maintenance? These are the kind of things that we have to do as a responsible board to lead this county. So asking questions is not wrong.
Right.
It's having a conversation.
You see, I wish Tim White was still here when he was the editor.
Oh, he'll weigh in though sometimes.
Still editor of the Federal Observer, because he supported what I was doing. I was doing journalistic research in the proper manner, getting public records requests. I'm going to the health department now. The health director wasn't showing up for work. He wasn't.
And this was not the current.
Right, not the current.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the guy.
Right.
I call his name Buck Wilson because I wrote about it. And this was before Jennifer Green. He wasn't showing up for work, man. I mean, hardly ever. And then, but not only he wasn't the only one. Look. Now he was making around $120,000 a year, but then we're talking about departmental people that are supposed to be providing clinical services.
Right.
Okay, specifically one PA for a physician's assistant making over $90,000 a year, and she was seeing 1 to 2 clients a week. I'm just saying, and look, and that was the culture throughout the entire organization. And get mad at me again because I don't care. It was going on in 2017. I don't know what's going on over there now, but I'm telling you. And I started going to the board meetings. But this is the kind of stuff that was happening. But look, not only that though. So now you got all of that stuff that was going on, and then it crescendoed with 159 women who got abnormal cancer results, and they were never told about it.
Right.
And 30 of those women were never found. I believe it's because they're somewhere in the ground. And I'm saying it's that kind of stuff. So now when we talk about these boards, you want to know why we discussing these boards? At that time, the board that was over the health department, they weren't doing their job. And they got away with stuff. And so that's when I first had a conversation about, hey, look, maybe we don't need to have them answering to this board. We need to have them answering to either to the Board of Commissioners or some other model. And that was in 2017.
People that are elected that are held accountable by the public.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Now, of course, they were the ones that was, they were the ones that were, appointing these people.
Right.
So the next question it says that, well, the community is questioning everything because of a distrust of the local elected officials. No, I mean, I can understand that, but look, let's be honest. You have an agenda too. So some of this is about, because I heard you talking about, well, I don't want to lose my job. I got that. But are you doing your job, Mr. Commissioner? That's the question.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, that's a very valid point. I mean, one of the things that elected officials at all levels have to do is, we've got to ensure we instill that trust, and that's a constant dialogue with the community. And I think that's important. You've got to rebuild trust. People want to see us do the foundational work. They want to see us invest in education, invest in infrastructure, invest in mental health, public health. They want to see us do those things. And when we don't, and quite frankly, and we don't do it in the open, then there can lead to mistrust. This board's been very deliberate about everything that we do. We try to do it in the open. We try to provide access to the public. That's important that we do that through whatever the process is, through the budget process, through any discussions, whether it's a data center or this around the health department and DSS, or even going back to what we're talking about with infrastructures or even the schools. We've got to continue to rebuild that trust, and it's a two-way street. We've got to work both ways. So, I'm optimistic about this dialogue. Sometimes, conversations are uncomfortable, but status quo is uncomfortable as well. And so we've got to have these kind of dialogues. People can be passionate. We saw some of that last week. But we've got to have these conversations, and we've got to be respectful to each other as we do it, both from the public up, both from the board to each other, and to the board to the public as well. And we're going to try to do that. And I think that's what's important, is because we all bring different experiences. We can hear from the community. We can hear from the staffs. We can hear from the people that are delivering services, and get a better understanding of where we need to move. But you're right. We've got to continue to work on the trust between citizens and government, and that's something I've said from day one that I became the chair of this board.
Well, I mean, for those people that say you don't trust, you trust in that system. There was an adult health clinic there at the public health center that no longer exists now.
Yeah.
There was a dental clinic there for indigent people it doesn't exist now anymore. That was basically because of the health director at that time. He used it to just get rid of these things. Now, it doesn't make sense to me why he got rid of them. Right. But I'm telling you, that was not an elected official issue. That was a situation between that director and that board. Now, I'm telling you, I saw that play out. And so if you want to get mad, you need to be getting mad at that board, because they're the ones that allowed these type of services to go out. Now, understand, there's a big picture here. Maybe you don't get it. But if the health department's not doing what it's doing, you're going to overload the emergency room at the hospital.
Right.
And that creates another problem.
That's right. That's right. And I know we're getting short on time. I don't know how much time we've got left. 1 minute. Yeah. I wanted to have a conversation and talk a little bit about, something that came up in a procedural thing, but we can do that at another time.
Sure. But we'll have you back. And look, I know you're on a regular schedule, but still, you come back and we can discuss this at other times. So, love to have you. But look, these are big ticket items that need to be discussed. We're out of here. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Appreciate it.
Hey, man, how about...